Hi guys, welcome to Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. I'm so glad you're here, joining me for my very first episode. I'm so excited to be starting this podcast. I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm just so excited to share it with you guys. My name is Amber. I'm from Ohio. I just moved to Los Angeles last month, 2 months ago, in August, so I have not been here long at all. I have my degree in architecture, my bachelor's of science. I just got it back in May. I did 2 internships at 2 architectural firms, and they were great. Firms were great. People there were great, but it just wasn't a fit for me. It wasn't very fulfilling. I spent a lot of time at those firms listening to podcasts and kind of getting really excited about what LA has to offer for me. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to do this podcast. I'm kind of just moved to California, and I'm going through a pretty big career change. You couldn't really say career change. I'm 22, so I didn't really have a career anyways. But yeah, not trying to use my degree or anything smart like that. Let's go through a little channel outline. Why do I want to do a podcast? Why should you listen to my podcast? Why are you here? Why am I here? Let me tell you. So for one, I've been feeling pretty lost lately, especially throughout college and being here and not really knowing where I belong or what is my career, what's my plan for my life, what's going to make me happy and fulfill people and fulfill myself. But something that has always come easily to me is helping people, is honestly advice. I hate to say that because it's why are you a credible person to give advice? And I'm not. but I feel like I have some words of wisdom to share, and I love learning too. So I'm gonna have some really cool people on the podcast. Not today. I'm gonna do a few solo episodes, few guest episodes. We'll do a little bit of both. But yeah, it's just gonna be really chill, really fun. We're gonna better ourselves, but not in a self-help kind of way, just in I want to get my shit together kind of way. We're gonna swear a lot, so if you're not into that, you probably should not stick around. I have a sailor's mouth, definitely. So sorry about that if you don't enjoy that. But today we're gonna talk about passion. Finding your passion, trying new things, that kind of thing. Like I said, I've really been kind of struggling with this one as of lately. I just graduated college, as I said, so with a degree that I kind of knew by the end of my senior year, I knew by the time it was time to graduate that I was not going to be using that degree. So that's not great, but well, it is great, though. It is great. I'm trying to stay positive about it because the truth is I'm not mad I went to college and got this degree or anything like that. I met a ton of cool people there. I have a lot of fun memories from there. Some of my best friends were from Kent State. That's where I went to school. So I'm not mad about it. Truth is, when you're trying to find your passion and your point of life and what your purpose is and what you're doing, truth is, you're going to spend a lot of time finding out what you don't like first. And I didn't know that. And I'm still trying to get on that bandwagon. But yeah, so truth is, I spent a lot of time figuring out things that I don't like. And, you could look at it I wasted 4 years figuring out architecture wasn't for me. But that's not the truth. Truth is 22, I'm on the right path because I already stopped pursuing architecture because that wasn't the right path. And there's nothing wrong with that. So it's so everything I try that isn't for me is leading me to what is for me. That's the attitude I'm trying to fucking have here. Anyway, so another thing that I've been learning throughout this process of moving to LA, and I'm actually an assistant to an influencer currently, just trying to get experience and entertainment. I do feel like LA was for me. So honestly, if you're trying to figure out who you are, what your purpose is, 1, try new things, but 2, if you feel something pulling you in a direction, just go with it. And know that if it's not for you, that's amazing. That's great. It's phenomenal. You tried something and figured out it wasn't for you because, you're one step closer to getting to where you want to be. So yeah, try new things. So when I was in Ohio, I knew Ohio wasn't for me. I knew I didn't belong there. I didn't feel like I could be myself there, but I also just didn't feel like I was going to reach my full potential there either. So last summer, I actually went to San Diego for 3 months for an architectural internship. Again, it was amazing. The guy I was working with was great. He was a really cool mentor, because he really looked at me as someone who is young and trying to figure out what they're doing with their life, and he was super cool and really helpful in saying, like, okay, well, if you get an architecture, you don't have to architecture, and you can do other things, and you can do furniture design, you can do interior design, you can do product design, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. Really what I was drawn to come out to LA is I want to do, maybe create content, and I want to like kind of build a community and honestly maybe help people figure out their passion, maybe not feel so alone in the process, because truthfully, so I moved out here with 3 people from Ohio, all went to Kent State, one being my boyfriend, one's a good guy friend, one's my old roommate from Kent, who's also a good friend of mine. And a lot of these people, I love having them around because they're passionate people. My boyfriend actually is a very passionate person. He's pursuing a career in basketball training, and he loves it. He's worked at 2 different places in California now, and he's like totally found what he's doing with his life. No question about it. No if, and, or buts. And I love that for him. I love that I'm with someone who's driven and passionate about what they do. But it can be frustrating because I've always looked at him like he knows this is his thing. And I look at him like I don't know what my thing is. And I feel like jealous and envious of him, that he has that, which is, these are valid feelings. It's valid to feel jealous. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not hoping that he fails or anything like that. But same thing with one of my guy friends out here, Colin. He does shoe design. He loves it. He's trying to land a job out here in something with that respect of, designing shoes, creating shoes, sewing shoes, doing really crazy fun stuff like that. And he's amazing at it. He's got a TikTok page too. His company is called Chummy's Customs, if you want to check it out. But yeah, he does some really cool work. And at the same way, I feel lucky to be surrounded by people who are very passionate and excited about, their careers. But also I've always felt frustrated and jealous and envious of him because he knows what he wants to do. And I've just felt like so lost for a long time. I still feel this way, by the way. This is my current feeling is feeling like lost and confused and like a little jealous of people who already know what their calling is. Because I haven't found it yet. And again, these are valid feelings, but in no way do I wish like that they wouldn't, I don't wish they wouldn't be successful, but, comparison is really the thief of joy. It really is. I mean, the truth is like these people just happen to be born knowing it, but they have other struggles in life anyway. So yes, they were born, I feel like Corbin was born with a basketball in his hand. He's just always known that about himself. Corbin's my partner. But 1, I should be excited and celebrate that. And for 2, he's had other struggles in his life. So yes, this is like a very big struggle for me, but it's not the end of the world. And I'm going to figure it out. So there's nothing wrong with kind of feeling jealous, but you can't let it overcome you, or, you can't let it stun you either, You can't get wrapped up in, oh, well, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just an idiot and I'm a fucker. Like, no. It's okay to feel a little frustrated at times, but you got to remind yourself, we're all on different journeys. So like you just can't compare. But getting to know yourself is important. And that's kind of like where you should really be focusing your energy. So instead of comparing yourself to like, oh, they know what they're doing and they're my age and they have more followers than me and blah, blah, blah. It's important to pause and just be like, how do I get myself to where I need to be? Not, oh, how do I get myself farther than them and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, how do I get myself to where I want to be? Well, one thing that's been helping me lately, so if anyone's struggling with this, you could try it, journaling. And I we'll probably get to this later, but I've been to therapy and that whole thing. And I honestly want to go back now. Now being in LA, I need to go back. But there's no shame in the therapy game. No shame at all. Honestly, if you're considering it, I'd highly recommend it. It's amazing. Just the idea of having a person that you tell like your deepest, darkest secrets to, and you never talk to them, so they're unbiased, they're not involved in your life, is 10 out of 10. Fully recommend. So anyway, how do you know when something isn't serving you? So this is just kind of something I wanted to hit on, something that I definitely dealt with when I was in school, especially when I was working at a firm. After I graduated this May, I started working full-time for that firm, like halfway through May, all June, July, and majority of August. So I was only there like 3 months, but I definitely just knew, like, day to day, I wasn't really being fulfilled, and it was like a 45-minute drive there and back. And then I was there like 9 hours a day because they had really long days so that Fridays could be shorter or whatever. So it was just like taking up all of my day. And then when I got home, I like wasn't really up for working out, but I had to be at work at like 7:30 in the morning. Again, 45-minute drive. So I had to like get up at 5:30. And it was just like, I felt like I didn't have time for the other things that I cared about. Now, the pay was pretty good, especially for Ohio, so that was a perk. But other than that, it's like I was there, and if you know anything about architecture, I was on a computer all day. I was doing AutoCAD, so I could listen to music. I could have my headphones in for the most part. Sometimes I would listen to music, but a lot of the times I was listening to podcasts and just people, other girls, and I just like felt like so inspired by just like, this is what they get to do every day, and they get to help people. I really like, there's a podcast called The Financial Diet. I love listening to her. She's really well spoken. It's kind of about money, but it's not like super serious or anything like that. But she kind of talks about how she got herself into credit card debt, and now look at her. She's out of it, and she's very financially intelligent and is into budgeting, but she also shares it with the world and she helps people. So I was really inspired by her podcast. Also, I'm a really big fan of Ellie Schnitt. She used to have a podcast called Holy Schnitt, and now she has a new one called Late Night Drive. And I just felt like, oh, look at her. Like, she just gets to get on here and talk about just like life and Taylor Swift and New York and just like, you know, boys, and this is her job, and she helps girls. I mean, even if she doesn't have a specific like, this is what I help, you know, girls do. It's just like, it was such like a good like girls chat room for like, I don't know, gals to just come on and like chill out and hang out and hear about, you know, horrible dates that she's been on, all that kind of stuff. And I just felt like, like that's what I want to be doing. That's what I want to do, is I just want to like connect. I want to have a little community of girls who are like-minded, who, you know, want to better their lives, but not in like a self-help crunchy kind of way where like you know, cut off, I don't even know, all, I was going to say like cut off all, like, I don't know why this is the first thing that came to my head, but I thought of like people who like don't believe in like medicine or like big pharmacy, and they like do everything all natural. I don't know why that was my thought. But just girls who are like, you know what, like, I want to be able to like cut off toxic people. I want to be surrounded by people who support me. You know, I want to know how to handle difficult situations, where like someone's challenging my moral values, you know, like situations where like, you know, I consider myself a girl's girl, you know, and then I'm in a situation where there's a man obviously making a very sexist comment in front of a group of people, and I'm in the group of people, and it's like, you know, how do we mitigate that situation? Do I just laugh and, you know, move on with my life? Or do I, you know, really stand up for what I believe in and say, hey, you know, that's not funny, you know? Like, so I don't know. That's kind of the community that I want to create here, is, you know, people who just like want to make the world a little bit better and want to call people out for their shit. But not in like a rude way, but just in a like, hey, you know, that wasn't cool, you know? And also a little community where people, you know, we got accountability here. You know, we can all acknowledge when we do or say something wrong, and we can all just learn from it and be like, you know what, yeah, that was kind of shitty. I shouldn't have said that. So that's definitely how I knew, roundabout way to say, that wasn't serving me. I wasn't getting fulfilled at work, but I was fulfilling myself through podcasts, and it was like, I'm just coming to work to listen to these podcasts. And don't get me wrong, I was doing my work, all right? I was good. I was good at my job. AutoCAD's fairly easy though, and I was working for a company that had apartment complexes that all fairly looked the same. They changed in minor ways based on site conditions and all kind of stuff like that. So for me, it was like a very easy job to, I don't want to say mindlessly do, but like do while I listened to podcasts and thought about other things. But nonetheless, it was a good experience. I met a lot of cool people there who were sad to see me go, but excited for the next chapter for me. So that's definitely how I knew something wasn't serving me. When I was feeling very unfulfilled every day after work. And on top of that, the money was good. But like I also, when I came home from work, I didn't have time for the things that I cared about, like going to the gym and possibly making content and just doing other things like that. So another thing I struggle with is hobbies versus passions. As someone who I feel like I have tried everything in the book, I feel like I am interested in a lot of things. I feel like I don't love anything. So so even on my TikTok, if you go look at it, I'm on TikTok, Amber Meisner, with like 2 R's, I think. Amber, Meisnerr. I've just tried a few different things. And so I had gotten a pair of jeans and I didn't like the color. And so I dyed them with Rit dye and I made a video about it. And it was fun. The video did okay. But then it was like, oh, now I'm not interested in that. And then it was like, all right, well, like now I'm interested in like painting these Nike swooshes and sewing them on clothes. And then it was like, all right, well, I did it once. And I just like, I don't know. I felt like I couldn't stick to one thing for the life of me. It's like, I'm interested in all these different things, but I'm not like passionate about one of them. And I felt like I've tried everything, and I'll try anything. I really will. I will try it all. I will give it a go. But so that's something I feel like I'm navigating right now is hobbies versus passions. But I feel like how you figure it out is trying it as a hobby. And that can be expensive because it's like, even just to do this podcast, like, well, I had to get a mic, and I guess maybe I didn't. I could have recorded on my phone, but, this is kind of the first thing I felt like I really cared about and I put a lot of work into. I don't know if you guys like the podcast cover, but I was really proud of it because I put in a lot of work toward it. And it was like the first thing I felt like I really put in 100% work. It was like every other thing, like I don't want to say half-assed, but like when I was dyeing those jeans and I was editing TikToks, like I wasn't like putting my blood, sweat, and tears into that edit or even those jeans. I was just kind of like, oh, I don't like the color. Let me see if I can get it darker. But for that podcast, like that shoot, to get that one photo, it took like 4 hours. By the grace of God, the influencer that I assist let me use her apartment and her amazing studio lights, and literally like 4 hours probably of shooting just for that one photo, and then obviously some post-production editing, which I did myself, and then also in order to get like the cover and the lettering and the words, again, very lucky to be surrounded by creatives. It was actually one of my roommates, Sophia, who did the photo shoot. She was a photographer for it, and then my other roommate, Colin, who edited after post-production and did all the words. So that's kind of how I feel like I kind of know like maybe this podcasting is for me, because I really I could have stayed, when I was doing that photo shoot, I could have stayed there all night. When we were editing, and I was editing pictures after, like I could have done that all day. Like I didn't want to stop, and it was kind of the first time I felt that way about something. Usually I'm like interested, but like only when I have free time am I interested. I don't know. So that's kind of something I'm looking at right now. Difference between hobbies and passions. And I feel like the only way to figure it out is you gotta fucking try. And it can be expensive. And sometimes you have to buy equipment to try something to realize that it wasn't for you. So, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm up to, is kind of just trying to figure out, like, what do I want to do with my life? What am I here for? Why am I in LA? And honestly, I'm open to anything, this influencer that I've been assisting, she's a model. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, would I want to do any kind of modeling? But honestly, since I've been here, I've really gotten back into my workout routine, and I really, really have been enjoying it. A lot. Like, I've been really enjoying the gym ever since I started going for myself. And I go for myself and by myself. It's really become like kind of therapeutic for me. I've been with my boyfriend for like 4 years, so it kind of feels like, all right, I gotta start prioritizing things, for me, just for me, by myself. Because when you're with someone, your lives kind of get entangled a little bit. So I think it's important to make time for yourself. So now I'm like, okay, well, I really like the gym, and like, is that something that I would want to make content about? Or like, I actually work at a gym right now. Would I want to maybe become a certified trainer? So I'm just kind of like figuring out my life right now. And I really just wanted this podcast to be a place for other people who maybe feel a little bit lost or feel like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Okay, some minor technical difficulties, but I think I've got it figured out. Definitely just figuring out as I go. But that's another thing, just about passions and hobbies. You gotta fucking figure it out as you go. You gotta try some shit, see what's working, see what's not, and just, I don't know, move on, go from there. So yeah, I think I just want to end on a note of, I think we have more control than we think. I think for a lot of people, and I'm from the Midwest, I'm from Ohio, a lot of people there, they just kind of go to high school, and then you go to college, and you get an office job, and you work a 9 to 5, and if it makes good money, then you get married, and you have your kids, and you live your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me be very clear. Nothing wrong with that at all. But that's kind of like the mold. Now, granted, not everyone goes to college there. Some people go to trade school, but nobody's really, not a lot of people anyway. They're pursuing, other things. And I think a lot of people in general, just in life, do things that maybe they feel like they have to do because they feel like they maybe don't have any other options, or they feel like, well, this is the smartest option, so I should just do whatever financially makes the most sense or logically makes the most sense. And, I'm right there with you. I get it. And I was raised by the same type of people. Definitely when I told my parents I was going to come out to LA, they were like, what are you talking about? Do you have a job? Do you have a plan? And the answer was no. No, I didn't have a fucking job and I didn't have a fucking plan. But the truth is, I worked that job all summer, saving up for that moment to move to LA, to literally just get my ass out here, pay my own rent, pay my U-Haul out here, and figure it out when I got there. And maybe it sounds stupid, but I wouldn't change it for the world, because even right now, I've only been here 2 months, and I really haven't done much out here. I mean, I've done some stuff, but I can't imagine if I was still in Ohio. That's the amazing thing about coming out here is, at least when I got here, I knew I was supposed to be here. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing here. I don't know what my life plan is here. I don't know if my whole life is here. I could leave in a couple years. I have no idea. But I do know I'm not supposed to be in Ohio right now. So it's one of those things that it's when I was telling people I was coming out here, literally probably 50-50, half people were like, I'm so excited for you. Go get it. Go try new things. You're 22. You're not married. You don't have kids. Go see the world. Go be dumb. Try different things. Go bankrupt. I don't care. But go see, figure out who you are, because you're young and you have no responsibility right now. All that other shit's going to come later. Do it. I'm so excited for you. Other 50%, literally 50-50, other 50% of people were oh, do you have a job? What are you doing out there? Do you know anyone out there? Are you going to do architecture? Well, I had someone, mind you, at my grandmother's funeral, I had one of my, I don't even know who it was, but someone came up to me and said, oh, you're going to LA? I was like, yeah, I was so excited, whatever. Because unfortunately, she had passed right before I was leaving, maybe a week or two, which is bittersweet. I'm glad it happened and I was able to be home with my family during that time. But anyways, I left right after. She said to me, oh, yeah, I guess maybe you haven't really learned responsibility yet. And I just thought, I wonder how miserable you are. I wonder how, truly, I wonder how much you enjoy your life here in Ohio, never have taken risks, or never having, maybe made any choices that, that didn't have a distinct, what ending, this is what will come of this. But I felt sorry for her. I felt a little upset at first, and then I felt sorry for her, because I felt you've probably never done anything in your life just for you, just for a very selfishly you. People need to be more selfish, by the way. They do, especially women. But seriously, just do more shit for you. I mean, and obviously, I'm speaking of the negative, and there was plenty of positive people. One of my uncles actually came up to me at that same funeral and was like, Amber, I'm so excited for you. And I was like, oh, yeah, because I honestly had no idea how people were going to react. People were literally reacting 50-50. Half people were like, you're fucking stupid. You have no plan. You're going to go broke and come back. So a lot of people said that to me. A lot of people said, she'll be back in a year. I'm like, fuck fuck you. I'm like, literally, fuck you. But these are people that went to school, went to high school, went to college, got a degree, never left Ohio once in their life, and got their job and started their life. And again, nothing wrong with that. I'm not bitching at you. I'm not complaining. I'm not judging you for following this very defined pathway for your life of school, job, marriage, kids. I'm not judging you at all, because if that's your cup of tea, I love that for you. I love that you're doing what you want to do. But if I'm doing what I want to do and it's not what you wanted to do, you don't get to judge me. You don't get to look at me and be like, that's not in the cards for me, so you're dumb. No. So my uncle came up to me and he's like, I'm so excited for you, Amber. And I'm like, oh my God, really? He's like, you gotta get out. He's like, after college, he's like, you gotta leave your hometown. You gotta go somewhere new. You gotta go explore it, experience. He's like, anyone in California can tell you what it's like to live there. You will never know what it's like to live there unless you go. And it made me really happy. It made me feel really good. For one, just to know that I really do on that side of the family, just have such a supportive family who's just so excited for me to do anything. Honestly, I love them. And I feel really grateful for them to be like, so happy for me. Because the truth is also, coming out here, I didn't sign a contract to sign my life away to be here until I die, Like, I never said I wasn't coming back. And I probably won't. Honestly, I feel like I won't. But maybe I will, you know what I mean? Like, I never said I'm coming here for 6 years, 10 years, 20, 50 years. I never said I'm having kids. Like, I never said any of that. Because to be honest with you, I don't fucking know. I have no fucking clue what the hell is in my cards. I don't know what's to come. But there was a fair share of people who were like, oh, yeah, she'll be back. She'll go broke. Do you know how expensive it is out there? What, are you going to get an electric car? Like, and I was like, I don't even know what you're at. I mean, maybe I might get an electric car. Like, what kind of question is that? People and I are built different. But actually, I was talking to my therapist about this because it was really bothering me how people were, like, saying these things to me and really making me feel judged, to the point where I didn't want to tell them anymore, and I didn't want it to come up in conversation because I just, like, wasn't sure how people were going to react, and it was giving me anxiety. And she said something to me so funny. It's a perfect note to end on. She said, you know why that is, Amber? I'm like, why? She's like, when you get to California, she's from California, by the way. I didn't even know that. My therapist in Cleveland, Ohio, I didn't even know she's from Orange County. She said, when you get to California, you will meet all kinds of people there from all different places of the world, not just the U.S. Obviously, some people from the U.S., but she's like, people from all over the world are in LA. Because a lot of people moved to LA because they wanted to. And she said, do you know why no one in Ohio can understand why you're doing this? I'm like, why? She's like, because nobody moves to Ohio because they want to. And I was like, you're not wrong. But then I was like, wait, you're from California. Why did you move here? No, I did ask that. But anyways, so I just thought it was funny because it was right. Because, you can only do and say so much, and people are always going to judge you for the things and the decisions that you make, but I knew it was right for me. Like, there's nothing that these people were going to say that was going to stop me. It was honestly only going to make me feel shitty. Like, it was only going to make me feel uncomfortable, awkward, and anxious, but it was never going to stop me. So, like, I hate to say, like, follow your heart, but for real, like, follow your gut, trust your gut. Like, if you feel like maybe you're in the wrong state, there's nothing wrong with changing your environment. I see a lot of TikToks that are like millennials when they have any problem, like, I'm moving to Colorado. Like, fucking do it, move to Colorado. I have another friend of mine who, Brittany, who's been texting me that she graduates in May and she's going to move to Nashville and she's going to get up and she's going to do it and she's going to go alone and she wants to kind of do what I did and just move out and go experience something new. And I'm like, I'm elated for you. I'm so excited for you. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. And even if it isn't, it's still great that you did it. Like, say she moves to Nashville and it doesn't work out and, maybe she's only there a year and she comes back. It's still, like, better to have tried than not at all, and that was, because I was honestly anxious as fuck to come to California. I was like, what if it doesn't go to work? I'm so far from my family. What if I make no friends? The whole thing. And my therapist was like, okay, well, what do you do if you get out there and you make no friends and nothing in your career happens? And what do you do? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, you come back. I'm like, oh. She's like, yeah. She's like, you can just come back. She's like, if you don't like it, you can just come back. She's like, you can always move. You can always get a new job. You can always, I mean, obviously I am going to pause and just like preface this with like, obviously that's not always an option for everyone. And I mean like financially or, obviously depending on if you have kids, you have a spouse, you have like whatever. But I do want to end on, you have more control than you think. You really do. You're never really stuck. I know like for sure financially we can feel stuck. And I'm feeling that right now. Let me tell you, California rent is something different than Ohio rent for sure. But I still know that in my heart, I'm never really stuck. Like even out here, like I'll be honest with y'all, I'm fucking struggling financially right now. Okay. Like I'm recording this in my bedroom. I got this mic off Amazon. No, for real. But old me, like previous to like kind of realizing like, all right, I got to start making myself happy, would have kept that job in Ohio, would have kept that pay. I could have bought in a house in Ohio by like next year with what I was making and where I was living. And I could have, quote unquote, like had it figured out or whatever, had the dream, had the house, got married and whatever. But I knew that I wouldn't be happy. And that was more important to me than honestly financial stability. Like I mean that like so thoroughly. Like obviously money doesn't buy happiness. Okay, well, yes, it does. Cause it leaves a lot of stress for sure. Feeling that right now. However, even right now, being in California, I could get a job back in design. I actually just got an interview with Restoration Hardware to do more interior design consulting. And I took the interview and whatever because I figured we'll see what it does. And I knew it would pay better. But I was like, I don't want to go back into design. I don't want to get myself stuck in this hole where I was back in Ohio. I was very unhappy there. And I would rather have a minimum wage job out here while I have time on the side to pursue, this podcast and do other things than get another design job out here that pays more, that works me 40 hours a week, leaves no time to pursue anything else. So like my career growth would be stunted or it would have to be design. I'd rather work less hours and hopefully really work really hard to pursue this podcast and, social media and hopefully be able to financially support myself through my passions in life later. Like I know that's not going to come overnight. But if I'm working 40 hours a week at a job I hate and I'm not even dedicating any time to my other passions or hobbies, then it's never going to come. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. So it's like, yeah, I'd rather give up a little bit of financial instability and be a little uncomfortable right now, but really pour my heart into this podcast and, do a really nice shoot and have a really nice cover and really do it right and hopefully be able to support myself financially through my passions. Because that's what I really want. At the end of the day, I want to love my job. I want to love what I do. I want to help people. I want to connect with people. I want to have a sense of community. And I know going back to a 9-to-5 would pay my bills. I know it would, but it wouldn't fulfill me. And long term, that's not the move. So I think we're going to end on that note. I hope you guys are feeling a little inspired. Maybe you guys can relate a little bit. Or maybe you guys know what you want to do with your life and you're like, can't relate, loser. If that's the case, find me on Instagram. My Instagram's Amber Meisner, Meisner, 2 R's at the end. And yeah, let's connect there. Let's, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe. Let's connect. Let's build a community. Tell me about yourself. Fucking comment or something. Comment on my post and just be like, I know what I'm doing with my life. So it sucks for you. I mean, don't do that. Well, you could. Actually, if you do know what you want to do with your life, please tell me about it. I do want to hear. I want to hear your passions. I want to hear what you care about. For real, though, thanks. Oh, fuck. Sorry, guys. That was my birth control alarm. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me on my very first episode of Shit's Hard. Don't forget to hit that follow button. My name is Amber. I'm your host, and I'll see you on the next one.